Ever since I started in this industry from college, working with engineers has been one of the most difficult category of people to work with because they all know Excel and Excel knows all. Today, we get an insider view into an electrical and software engineer's perspective on our industry before and after he became a certified financial planner. So today I congratulate you on your newly obtained credentials, and I'm really excited for this interview, Lyndon.
Me too. I'm excited to hear what you're going to ask me.
Me too. Just share a little bit about how did you look at this industry before you started thinking in any way, shape, or form that you wanted to jump into it yourself?
Well, for one thing, I thought the industry was only about investments. I didn't know the certified financial professional industry even existed. And so it wasn't until I talked to someone that was already a CFP professional that I realized that it was something that I would want to do.
So your view of the industry was, it's all about investments and I know how to do that myself.
Right, exactly. I did all my own investing. I handled all of our family finances. No one else in the house really even knew what I was doing because I just took care of all of it. And I think that's pretty common between a husband and wife. One of them will handle all of the finances, the investing and everything. And usually the other one won't know much about what's going on. Mm-hmm. But as an engineer, I almost hesitate to say this, but I probably thought I was smarter than all the financial advisors out there anyway. So why would I go talk to one?
Yeah, you should just become one to teach them all a thing or two.
I know it's not true, but that's sort of how engineers think.
Of course, absolutely.
And that's probably why they're so hard to work with, because we think we can do it better on our own than we can with a CFP professional.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what are some of the realizations you've had as you've gone through this transformative process of becoming a certified financial planner?
Part of becoming a CFP is you have to go back to school. And you have to pass 7 modules or 7 classes anyway, and they each cover a different area. And as I went through those, I remember thinking, wow, there is a lot that I don't know. I think I was assuming that, especially when I got to the investing section, which was just 1 out of the 6, for one thing, that I would know most everything that there was to know about investing. But I probably knew 1% of what I learned throughout that whole time.
Wow.
I mean, it was almost nothing. So, and then certainly when you get into the other areas, like there's 6 areas. There's college planning, and then insurance, basically risk management, planning for your investments, and then there's tax planning, and finally retirement planning and estate planning. So with all those different areas, I learned so much. I found out there was so much that I didn't know.
So if you could transport yourself back in time to a day when you are hacking away on your Excel program,
right,
solving all your own world's problems with finance, what would you tell yourself on how value is actually built, and how you should go about either doing it yourself mm-hmm. or engaging a professional to help you?
I think I would have started a lot earlier. I would say that I would have started right away, basically, working with a planner. At least at that point, it would have been about finding out the best strategies for saving for all different aspects. College, I think we probably didn't save for college right, for buying a home, mm-hmm. for buying our second home. All along the way, there were mistakes that I made. In fact, I went back once because I'm an engineer, probably I had to calculate this, right? And I thought, okay, the mistakes I made along the way, which could have been prevented, not necessarily ones that couldn't be prevented, but ones that would have been easily changed, are easily worth $1 million now.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Of course, I am old now, so those mistakes that you made have had a chance to be exaggerated or amplified by the fact that I didn't get a chance for a lot of those mistakes to have gone through years of compounding.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So your mistakes compound, your money compounds, but so do your mistakes.
And we're not talking about clipping coupons.
No, we're not talking about
Okay.
coupons.
Okay. So these are major event decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So one of the videos you did talked about your transition into lifestyle financial planning and the realization that this is not a money-centric thing.
Right.
Life is a life-centric thing. And it goes to your deepest core values. And once you got that, I think at one point you were making all your decisions around finances, mm-hmm. you kind of had a breaking point. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Even as a financial planner, my focus was on creating a plan that left both myself as a client and also my other clients with the maximum amount of money on the day they died. Most of our plans show what their net worth is going to be throughout their lifetime. Mm-hmm. And my only focus was creating a plan that basically left them with the maximum amount of wealth on the day they died. And once I started looking at their plan and at my plan also through the lens of life, in other words, what's the way to get the best life possible between now and the day I die? Instead of, when I looked at it through the lens of money, just what's the way to have the most money on the day I die? Like there's some prize.
You can afford the most expensive coffin.
That's right. Yeah. Now maybe my heirs would appreciate it. Maybe. But it also might ruin their lives. So, it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, but you leave a lot of money to somebody, some people, that can create problems also. So now our focus is on life, which is all the time between now and the day they die.
Yeah. Well, and even if you leave a chunk like that, to some people, they can take it as, wow, I wish I would have had more time with my dad or my mom instead of this huge sum of money. I would have wanted more of them.
Yeah, if you get to the end of your life, you're laying on your deathbed, and you realize there's a lot of things you could have done that you wanted to do that you didn't do, and that can leave you with regrets. And that's something that I don't want to happen to myself or to my clients.
Yeah, yeah, and so what I hear you saying is that there is a depth of value that comes from financial planning when it's done well, when it's on the proper perspective, that is almost impossible to do by yourself. And thanks for sharing more about your journey between the engineer with Excel to the financial planner with heavy duty software and a renewed perspective on life.